And hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Sharing Your Journeys. Today, we have Angelo from Canada. He's my new friend. He's my most amazing friend, only because I love his fashion style. If you haven't seen Angelo's profile, by the way, guys, I'm getting too excited. If you haven't seen his profile, I'm going to put it down in the description in YouTube and in Spotify as well. But if you haven't checked it out, you need to check it out and follow him because he's incredible. It's just, oh my
Oh,
gosh, absolutely incredible, honestly.
oh,
So,
so kind.
welcome, Angelo. Thank you so much for being here. Um, I'm literally going to pass the platform over to you just because I can't wait to get started. I actually can't wait to hear your journey. So, can you, whenever you're ready, can you basically let us know how you got started, like how you started your hosiery journey and how it's going?
Well, before we dive into it, I just wanted to thank you so much for this opportunity. I mean, I'm totally thrilled to be your guest, and also wanted to thank you for all you do, for our community. Because I mean, there have been other brands that have been very inclusive, and they're great. But I believe you have gone the extra mile, and we really appreciate it, really,
Oh,
because
thank you.
yeah, you make us seem validated and seen. You share a story, so wow, it's incredible. So really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh,
So yeah, my story, I guess it probably is very similar to everybody's, really, right? As a child, getting attracted to the texture, the look. But
mm.
by the way, like, thank you so much for what you said about my fashion style. I mean, and I'm actually wearing yours right now.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
they're amazing. Yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
I'm so glad you like
Seamless
them.
15, so a must have, everybody. So probably that's what maybe makes me a little bit different from
Yeah.
other wearers is just my fashion advocacy, right? Um, well, because that always kind of struck me as something very strange. Like you probably know this, right? And probably everybody knows this. Like tights were part of the male wardrobe once, right? They were a
Yes.
staple, right? Women wore them too, but they were covered.
Mm.
Whereas men actually wore them and showed them off. They
Yeah.
even stuffed them to make the calves look bigger and thicker and juicier. So somehow that just went away, right? And I have to say, I think I blame or make the media, I attribute to the media part of the stigma that he has. Because
Mm.
when you look back and see some of the shows on the 70s, like, for instance, you're probably familiar with Men in Tights, the film, the Mel Brooks film. Have you ever seen it?
Yeah, I think I have ages ago.
Yes. So they had this very memorable number of them like were Men in Tights dancing. So I believe, and it was all very silly, but almost ridiculized. So I
Mm.
think that caused a huge impact. And it was not that was just an example, right? But somehow since then, it's almost like the films and TV shows are afraid of showing men wearing tights.
Mm.
I don't know if you have noticed. Instead, they give them like leather pants
Mm.
in court, for Renaissance period times, leather pants, because they believe that
Yeah.
maybe women won't find them as sexy or attractive, or they're gonna laugh at them. So I think it's just the media that perpetrated this, because
Mm.
the cultures may be, less of a stigma, right? So I don't know. So that really bothered me,
Yeah.
and I think that's what, in a way, pushed me to create a back in the day I had like a Flickr account and a Yahoo group with like-minded people where you can just share your fashion style and
Yeah.
share a little bit of yourself. And that's how I became a little bit more known. And the community has been amazing. They have been very supportive, and they told me that I've inspired them over the years. So
Yeah.
um, that was the goal, really.
Wow. No,
And
yeah, I really do love that. I love that. Sorry, carry on.
no, it's a I guess one thing I just wanted to add is like recently there has been like a shift because one of my main goals I had, well, was of course what I mentioned about reclaiming tights as a male garment, but
Mm.
also I wanted to make that profile more not about me, right? That's why I never
Yeah.
showed my face, because I wanted people to see themselves wearing the outfits, right?
Yeah.
It was just like, just this is how you can just actually wear them in public and just make them part of your world
Mm.
and feel comfortable doing it. And I got the feedback that maybe it was a little bit too standoffish, that they didn't feel very connected.
Mm.
So that kind of encouraged me to maybe, show more of my face. And if they see a person wearing, as opposed to
Yeah.
just like a mannequin, a headless mannequin, right? They will
Yeah.
feel inspired and more connected and more understood, maybe.
Mm.
So yeah, I think that's what the shift of the recent months have been, and that's why I have been a bit more open about, displaying
Yeah.
myself fully. So that is kind of like the full circle that led to today, meeting you and speaking with you and your followers. So
Wow, because it's interesting. It's interesting you say that actually, in terms of going from being like a faceless model on Instagram to then actually wanting to change it where it's you from hair to toes at the end of the day. And I wanted to ask, when you made that transition, because I remember when for everybody who's listening and watching, so when me and Angelo first started talking, I remember when his account was faceless. And I remember having those type of conversations, sort of saying, "Oh, like I might be actually showing my face soon," and we were having that whole thing. And I wanted to ask, since you have basically shown you on your account now, um, what's the reaction been like? What's the feedback from everybody? Like, obviously, because you said like, oh, it's nice to sort of see a whole person, but have you got anybody who's kind of come into your DMs to be like, oh my God, like why are you showing your face? Or oh my God, that's absolutely brilliant. Like it's interesting. It because I can relate it back to my blogging account in a sense. So it's fascinating to hear.
yes, no, it has been incredible. It has been very supportive, and I think, yeah, like what I was, uh, yeah, what I mentioned seemed to be true. Like people were saying, like, find it very inspiring. I feel more like,
Yeah.
more connected, and more like you are holding the flag for more of us, and that gives them more confidence. So
Yeah.
yeah, it has been positive. Of course, there have been people who are like, like, oh, why are you doing that? Like they, I don't know, they get anxious maybe. But well,
That's a
I
nice way of
understand that
putting
feeling.
it.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I mean, it's honestly, it's great to it is like for me to see that as well, like just a person looking at your account, it's a very bold move to do. And I know speaking to obviously a lot of male wearers and however they choose to identify as well, it is very it is a very bold, courageous move going from a faceless account to actually showing everything about you. I mean, obviously, it is very from a fashion perspective. I love it. It's so aesthetic. Like honestly, I look so forward to seeing your photos. But I suppose it can mean so much to those who are potentially that is their goal to get there to like where you are now in a sense. Um yeah, it's just it's really it's really lovely to I really appreciate it because one, it's so lovely to see, but two, it's knowing what even just you doing that for the community is just showing people like if I can do it, you can do it too in that sense. And I think that's so admirable and it's a bold, courageous move. But I think me personally trying to get rid of stigmas and and changing perceptions and stuff, it is very much it's for me, it's the right thing to do. But obviously knowing the fact that everybody's on a different part of their journey, not everybody can do that just
Absolutely.
yet. And we totally understand and respect that. But it's just lovely to see the fact that here's Angelo. Like, oh my God, Angelo's done it, and which means you can potentially too. So I do
Correct.
love that. I
And
really do
you
love
hit the
that.
nail there on the head. Many of the comments I've been getting is like, I'm not there yet. They say that often.
Mm,
I get tons of
mm,
messages that I'm not there yet, but I hope I will be one day. And I
mm.
tell them that is just fine, right? To those people, I could offer maybe some advice, right? And like it was difficult for me too, right? Not just showing my face recently, but also like the very first photos I took, right? And
Yeah.
one thing that I found extremely useful is, well, start at home, right? First.
Mm,
And then if you want to just go in public, go to a place that gives you peace. And go to a place where maybe you might not run into people that you know, because that is one of the big anxiety issues, right? If someone is going to see
mm,
me that knows me from my work or family, just take a little road trip, go to a park, or go for a hike and do it and see how you feel, right? You will
mm,
realize that nobody cares really. They might just look and then just keep moving, keep going
yeah.
on. And occasionally they will give you a very nice compliment, which has like 95% of the comments I've gotten have been extremely positive, right? And
Yeah.
people are very curious sometimes, and they ask you like, "Why? Like, why did you do it?" I say, "Like,
Mm.
you rock it, right?" I mean, it's great. So
That
yeah,
is
go.
amazing.
Mhm.
That is amazing. So I wanted to ask you, because I know, I mean, I don't know if anybody has before. I'm definitely curious. But it is, so when did you first start wearing, and what type of pairs of hosiery did you start wearing? Like, it just because you mentioned like sort of start at home, then go to a place where you find peace and then move forward. Just kind of backtracking a little bit, like, do you know roughly when you started wearing, even if it was at home or in private, and what types of pairs that you went for as the first pairs to
Oh
kind of
well,
break through?
yeah, no, no. That's why I mentioned like probably my story is very similar to it. Very relatable. You know, as a child,
Mm,
like curious. You know, you see women wearing them, and it's like that looks amazing. And what?
yeah.
Right? So of course, as a child, I wore them. Of course, hiding myself a little bit. There's always, the shame, the feeling that you're doing something wrong. Um,
Mm,
but afterwards, um, yeah, it was, after I started wearing more regularly when I was a teenager, under my pants, and then eventually I just started, like I could try this with shorts. I
yeah.
find it uncomfortable to wear on their pants, so it just felt like a natural evolution for me.
Wow.
I don't know, maybe
That
it's
is
a very
that's
deep
really nice
question,
to
but
know.
it's,
No, 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 but you know, it's nice to know because it is, even if your story is very similar, and that's what I mean, the amount of times that I've had people come on and even just, talking in private, there are very similar stories, but I think that's also something when you talk about connecting, and especially with hosiery wearers, I think that can be a very big thing, knowing the fact that like, oh, like Andrea's had a very similar story to me, and like, oh my God, like, do you know what I mean? So it's like there's like a little starting point to a potentially gorgeous friendship. But it's just, I think it's interesting the fact that I always find it really interesting the fact that the stories are quite similar, and it just shows how, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like we're not all dissimilar at the end of the day. I think we all have a similar starting point, whatever it may be, but we've kind of fruitioned in different ways. But it's one of those, you walk your own path, but then you find others that are on your in your kind of field in a sense. But it's really nice to know. So here's a question for you, Angelo, right? What made you, because it's just this is what I mean. I love your fashion account. What made you want to get into dressing quite formally or semi-casual? How you basically do, like, what makes you want to go for the style that you go for?
that's actually an excellent question because I think a lot of people back then when I started associated hosiery as very formal. So
Mm,
in a way, that's why my early and it's still to this day. I love wearing a tie and shirt. I just that juxtaposition between the male and the tights to me is very, very appealing. But
mm,
also it was because there was this formality associated to that. But in the past few years, I think that kudos to women have embraced them more, right? And now they wear them, with sneakers
yeah,
and during the day, and it's amazing. Now it's just part of our daily wardrobe. So that, in a way, was almost like now they get me back, right? And I wear them with
yeah.
sneakers. And I wear them. I'm not quite there yet to wear them in an athletic sense. Like I don't
Hmm.
work out in them unless I don't have time to change it. I just work out like
Oh
this at
yeah,
the rowing machine because I don't have time.
as
Sometimes I
you
work
do.
out like But if I was, to go to the gym or just have a dedicated workout, I just couldn't wear tights. I don't know. Um, so yeah, that definitely that's association. And I also had a person close to me that she worked in the fashion industry, so she gave me a lot of advice and pointers, not specifically about hosiery, but about what colors go well together.
Get you.
What are the guidelines that you can use, right? But I think I mentioned to you once, like I hate trends. I
Yeah,
don't like
I
trends.
hate trends.
Yeah, so it's almost like just
Yeah,
do what works for you, learn
yeah.
your classics, learn the basics, and then just start bending the rules a little, right? And that will, if you understand those basic rules of aesthetics, that gives you more license and confidence, to be yourself and be out there in the world and
Mm.
proud.
No, I hear that. And it's a good point actually that you make about like not following trends and stuff, because I think especially, and obviously I'm just mainly, I'm not talking from like from a female point of view in terms of women that I've spoken to, but mainly men who do wear hosiery, they're very much, when they are getting to the stage where they do want to wear it out and about, whether it's going shopping or just a walk in the park, just for them to get, feel more confident. A big question I always get is, oh, how do you style them and how do you pair them? And it's just like, I mean, obviously, I can tell you, like, look, let me have a look at your wardrobe and this is what I like, or you could try
Hmm.
this. But at the end of the day, it's what works for you. Because it's funny, like, because for me, it's my outfits go around what hosiery I want to wear. So I pick what tights I want to wear for the day. And then I plan my outfit around that, rather, or it's like
Nice.
if I'm
I
feeling,
suspected it. I suspected it.
yeah, no, I do. But but there's some days where it's like, and I try and show it obviously on my brand account as well. There's some days where I can be such in my feminine vibes, and I'm just like, yes. And there's some days where it's like, do you know what? I feel a little bit punk or I feel a little bit tomboyish, and I'll dress accordingly. And I change my style so much that I don't really have a set style. So I think
Yeah.
that's another thing I think a lot of people need to consider is everybody, you may have a set style, which is completely fine, but just know the fact that there's some people that don't, and they just might want to dress different day to day, and that's completely cool too. So yeah, it's just, yeah, I'm glad you
Absolutely.
mentioned that. I'm really glad you mentioned that actually. I love
Yes,
that. I
no,
love that. Yeah.
that's an absolute true. And that also comes to the activities you might want to do during the day, right? Like if I know I have a very busy day at work, I might, go for something like more, um, like maybe higher denier, right?
Mm,
Or even some under my pants if I know that I'm going to be a lot of pressure because I don't want that distraction, right?
yeah.
So that also depends a lot on the day, right? Or you just going to the beach. I know that there's some troopers out there. I admire them. It's amazing, but they even wear them to the beach, and wow, that blows my mind. And
Mm,
lost to them. I myself, I won't be.
honestly.
I cannot do it. Like I'm not that committed, I suppose.
Well, do you know what? I mean, it'll be interesting. I only said that because I've been to the beach in them, but in a pebbly beach. It's not been a sandy beach. So
Ah,
my next thing is next time I go to a sandy beach, I'm gonna try it out and see what it's
oh,
like.
really?
Yeah, that's something when you say it, and I was like, yes, and I was like, trust me, the people who do that, oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like you said, everybody's journey is different, right? For some people, it's
Yeah.
more about experiencing them in different environments, right? Like like feeling the sand or
Yeah.
feeling the water. Like there's people who swim in them. It's just incredible the
Yeah.
variety, right?
It's
Or taking showers,
incredible.
or
Yeah,
taking
no, it
taking
is
showers.
incredible. I
Yeah,
think it is just, yeah, it's exactly how you said. I think it is just, I think hosiery is going to be unique to everybody, especially, it's sad to say, but especially men and male wearers. Do you know, like the fact that we're still trying to break through stigmas, and there still is that little thing there. As hard as we're trying to break it down, Angelo, it still very much is a thing. But I think it's exactly how you say it is very different for different people. And it is like, for instance, I know with a lot of ADHD people with ADHD, sorry. they're all about the smoothness, the texture, how it feels against. There is a lot more to them compared to just one of my friends who wears, and he's like, oh yeah, I'd love the look of it. Like there's nothing to it. Do you know what I mean? So it's very, very different. I have to
Mhm.
admit. Yeah,
Yeah, and
no.
there is at least nothing about this, how they look or feel is more
Mm,
about identity, right? It's just like I
yes.
feel like I'm like I would imagine for people who are question maybe their gender identity, right? And it's just like, well, it just I want to be this. This is the person I want to be, so I feel like I need to dress this specific way,
Yeah.
right? That's a valid story too, right?
Yeah.
No story is wrong, and there's some people who just simply do it, for intimacy, and that is fine as well, right?
Yeah.
So there's no wrong path, right? Really.
No, there isn't. There isn't. And I'm really glad you said that. Because there isn't. I think it's like how we say everybody's journey is very, very different. And people
Mhm.
wear hosiery for very different reasons. And it is just it's okay. I think, yeah, there is no right or wrong. I think it's just however you choose to wear, it's just knowing that that's fine. As long as you're not hurting anyone or harming anybody, that's cool. Do your thing.
Yes.
Um I was gonna ask you just as wrapping up, um, but you kind of answered it, but it's okay. I'm still gonna ask you anyway.
Oh, I
Um,
can.
so one thing that I normally tend to ask people who come on is if you could leave a message for the people who are going to be watching or listening, what would your message be to them?
Hmm. Oh, that's a good one.
It is,
Well,
isn't
it's
it?
just, you know what? Maybe it's gonna be okay. Take your time and envision yourself with the possibilities, right? Because if you think about it and maybe you verbalize it, then it might just happen, right? And it will be the path to take you there. And then if you visualize it first, you will probably give an opportunity for you to feel how you would experience that, or how would you feel about it. But then also you will get more comfortable with it, right? So that's totally fine for those who just are happy, for their own personal enjoyment. But if you actually want to wear them out there and make it part of your wardrobe, and that's what you always wanted, I mean, life is too short.
Yeah.
Visualize it, and get there. Take your time, but also, do the work and ask about, do your research. There's people who support you there along the way, so there are resources, and never be afraid to ask for help.
I really do like that. I really do like that, and I really appreciate that. And even just for everybody who is listening or watching, just know the fact that not only am I out there, but there are people like Angelo out there. Hence why I said I'll be dropping obviously his link to his Instagram so you can get in touch. If there's anything that you do want to ask Angelo, that I may have missed, or if it's a personal question that you prefer to ask, that's completely fine. But yeah, I really like that message actually. I think that's a lovely message. No,
Oh, thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you for that, Angelo. Oh, well, thank you so much for coming on. Honestly, it's been such a pleasure to talk to you and to actually connect with you, like fully connect with you. So,
Oh no,
hopefully, this won't be the
no,
last
no.
time.
Mhm.
Yes, I'm hoping it won't be the last time. But if anybody does have any questions for Angelo that they would like to obviously share in the comments or on the poll or anything, please do so. There may be a part two. Me and Angelo can potentially work towards a part two. So we won't knock that out the equation. But thank you, honestly, so much, Angelo, for coming on. I really appreciate your time. Um, and just you being here and actually just, yeah, just being part of this, it's so wonderful, so thank you so much.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. And well, it's the least I could do for all the work you do for us. It's incredible. So thank you.
I always try my best.
You do
But
your
yeah, but
best. Trust me.
thank you so much, and until next time, so take care, my love,
Bye
and
bye.
I
Have a
will
wonderful
hopefully
day.
see you part two.